Remember the days we rocked that cold jello. Remember the days we have our shit together. On the north side times were hard, but them days was better. I wish I had a time machine, just so you can take a ride with me. I miss just how you smile at me, unconfused into infinity. I wish I had a time machine, yes sir, so you can take a ride with me. Wrap my arms around and hold you tight, feel, so you can never say goodbye to me. Out in the galaxy, up in the stars, up in the universe, it's bigger than Mars. See you in heaven, see you in heaven. When I see you in heaven, I'ma be with my dog. Out in the galaxy, up in the stars, up in the universe, it's bigger than Mars. I see you in heaven, see you in heaven. When
Are you ready for the biggest Sunday in sports? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL and Super Bowl 57, has all the Super Bowl action you need. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get in on the Super Bowl 57 excitement with DraftKings Happy Hour Super Boost. Check the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern to see what prop bet will be boosted. I cannot wait for the big matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 57. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code SOTS. New customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code SOTS. Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, and yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about a lot of angry Saints fans. And we're also going to be talking about a lot of hypocrites out there. So if this is a show where you're easily offended, you might want to turn it off right now, because I'm about to call some of y'all out. But shouts out to everybody here. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. Shouts out to everybody listening around the country, around the world, wherever you are, wherever you may be. Thank you so much for allowing the State of the Saints podcast to be a part of your viewing and listening pleasure. We're going to be talking about Broncos coach, I got to get used to saying that, Broncos head coach Sean Payton and some of his moves, calling some Saints coaches to possibly be a part of his staff. We're going to be talking about that because let me tell y'all something, Who Dat Nation. I wasn't going to have an episode today. I was not going to do an episode of the State of the Saints podcast today. I was going to focus on the Therapy Couch podcast, which you all are going to be able to check out later on tonight. If if you want to tune in, Therapy Couch right here on the State of the Saints podcast network. I wasn't going to have an episode, but the hypocrisy is at all-time high right now among Saints fans. I mean, it is absolutely unbelievable. But let me bring some of you up to speed. As you all know, Sean Payton is now the head coach of the Denver Broncos. And Sean Payton has been trying to fill out his new staff, right? Getting new coaches, calling guys up, trying to interview guys to see who is the right fit for his coaching staff. And of course, he called up quite a few guys from the New Orleans Saints. He called up Zach Strief. Zach Strief is now the Denver Broncos' new offensive line coach. He called up Kevin Peastree, who was an assistant coach. He decided that he wanted to stay with the Saints. And he called up Ronald Curry, right, who is now the quarterback's coach, but he called him up to interview for the offensive coordinator position out with the Denver Broncos. And you have members of the Who Dat Nation that are upset about it. They're mad at Sean Payton. They talking about Sean Payton trying to take all our coaches. Sean Payton, he trying to pillage and raid our cabinets, if you will, of the coaches that we have. Let me tell y'all something. And I'm talking to those people out there that have been hitting me up, that have been hitting up Twitter, that have been hitting up Facebook, and all these other places that you can vent your frustrations. I'm talking to you. If I'm not talking to you, of course, you can't get mad. There's that old saying, hit dogs holler. So if you're not a hit dog, don't say, don't do no whimpering. I'm talking to the ones that are the biggest hypocrites I ever seen in my entire life. I get inboxes, I get DMs, I get all of this stuff. TJ, man, you need to let people know that this coaching staff ain't it. TJ, you need to let them know that they need to fire the offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, and his whole staff. Now, all of a sudden, Sean Payton hits up these coaches. Some of them y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know the half of these guys. Y'all wouldn't even know, like, these coaches could pass you in the street and you wouldn't know who the heck these dudes is. But all of a sudden, they're the most important part of the Saints' success going forward. Some of you are some of the biggest hypocrites I ever seen in my entire life. All I've been hearing this entire time is how the Saints offensive staff needs to go as a staff, organization, and crew. All I heard was these guys need to go. That's all I hear. Now, all of a sudden, Sean Payton, the guy who brought these guys to New Orleans, may I add, the guy who assembled these guys for you to actually care about, these guys want to go with the guy that brought them here, and all of a sudden it's a problem. All of a sudden it's a problem. All of a sudden you're like, look, I get it. You got a lot of people out here that are upset with Dennis Allen. I get it, right? You look at his overall record, you look at the state of the Saints, no pun intended, you're frustrated because you want to see a winning product. I get it. As a podcast, as a broadcaster, as a Saints fan, I get it. But some of us are just getting mad at the simple fact of we just don't like Dennis Allen. We don't like him. We don't like Dennis Allen. We don't like the way he rolled. We hate the way that this team is looking because of Dennis Allen. I get all that. But everything ain't the dude's fault. This particular situation is not his fault. It is not. And some of you, once again, are hypocrites. You will not do this in your actual life. If somebody offered you a position, somebody offered you a job that gives you X amount of dollars, more money than what you're making right now, a better position than what you are in right now, you will be on the first thing smoking. Period. Don't, man, it depends on the situation. Man, miss me with that. Miss me with that nonsense. Miss me with that. I guarantee you, if they had a job out there right now, if they had a job similar to the same job that you had, based on your experience, based on how long you've been doing what you've been doing, if there was a better job out there and somebody called you up and you're able to work in the same field and make more money with a better position, you're going to take it. There's not a human being out there, probably maybe a few people, might not take it, may be happy in a situation, but for the most part, you are going to take that position. It's not like these guys are going to go and have the same position. They're going to advance. They're going to be promoted. They're going to move up the ladder, if you will, and give them a better opportunity to go to even better situations. So why in the world would I be mad or frustrated? And number one, I didn't want the dudes to be here. And then number two, they're going to better situations than where they came from. Why would I be mad at a situation like that? You didn't want these guys. You didn't want these guys. This is equivalent to a person that treats their significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend like trash, right? You can leave if you want to. Man, you pack your bags. I don't care. Then all of a sudden, some time go on, you see them with somebody else. Man, we could have had something special. Boy, I tell you, we could have had something special. I thought you was the one. It must be nice. Yeah, like that's what some of y'all acting like right now. That's what some of y'all acting right now. You're acting as if you didn't want this person. Now all of a sudden, you see they got a little glow up. Now all of a sudden, like they was the best thing since sliced toast bread. Miss me with that noise. And I have no problem with Dennis Allen moving on from these guys. I have no problem with these guys going to the guy that hired them in the first place. Because Dennis Allen needs to assemble his squad. I've been telling y'all this. You shouldn't have a problem with this. If you have an invested interest in maybe the possible demise of Dennis Allen, why would you have a problem with this? I've been saying this over and over and over and over again. Give this dude the opportunity to assemble his staff. And if he assembles his staff and it doesn't work out, then it's painstakingly obvious that the Saints organization can't dispute that. They can't go out here and say, well, this happened, that happened. They no longer can fall under that umbrella. It's his guys, it's his staff. So all of a sudden, if it don't pan out, we know what to do. But as long as he's under this Sean Payton appointed staff, there's always that thought like, hey, maybe it's not just him. Like, what's going on? And then on top of that, bruh, I said this also. It's like somebody getting promoted from within that you used to work with. Think about this. You're working side by side with somebody. All of a sudden, that person gets pulled into the office. They come back out. What happened? Man, I got promoted. Promoted to what? Well, I'm going to be heading y'all up now. What? You think about the times that you've been right there with that person. You think about all their imperfections. Don't lie to yourself. You know I'm telling the truth. You think about all the imperfections. You think about the times where they probably left early and you end up doing a job. You think about all of the things that you do that's better than them. Right? And all of a sudden, now I got to listen to this person. I mean, that's just human nature. These guys had to fall in line. And I'm pretty sure they respected Dennis Allen to a certain extent, but they respected the position that he was in more than him as the actual appointed person. Right? They respected the position. So why would you want that hanging over your head? Right? And then not to mention things went bad. And we all know when things start going awry, everybody has an idea. Everybody has an idea about how things can get better. Oh, man, if it was me, if I was running the show, we would have did this. If I would have been running the show, we would have did that. And now you got that in the background, right? So why in the world wouldn't this man want to appoint his own people? I'm not saying that these guys were out here trying to sabotage the guy, but I'm just saying it's human nature. When you see a guy, you working up close and y'all have the same position, y'all have the same power, and then all of a sudden that person gets pulled and they have more power than you. But at the same time, you feel like you're more qualified or you deserve an opportunity. It's hard to put that kind of stuff to the side. I'm not mad at this. And once again, all of those people out there that are crying, whining, and complaining about coaches that y'all probably don't even know, and you probably had to go to NewOrleansSaints.com to find them, and you're not going to say, oh, I didn't know who that was, because you want to sound like the smartest person in the room. Miss me with that noise. Miss me with it. You probably don't know what you're talking about for the most part. And bruh, the hypocrisy is amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. All of this stems from, for the most part, you don't like Dennis Allen. So any situation that they get, like if this was somebody else making this decision about Derek Carr, for example, you wouldn't have so many mad people out here. You wouldn't. It's just the fact that Dennis Allen is the one that's running the show. So it sounds like the worst idea ever. You know, if the Saints was out here trying to get Aaron Rodgers, it's the worst idea ever because it's Dennis Allen doing it. And I get it. Once again, the confidence in Dennis Allen is low, and it's justifiably so. But at this particular point, we just being negative and we just hating just to hate. And I can't do that. I cannot do that because it just does not make any sense. We did not want these guys for the most part. That's all I've been hearing. That's all I've been seeing on social media. The offensive staff who averaged 19 points. The offense averaged 19 points under this staff. We talked about how these guys need to go. We joked about how these guys need to go, and they still here. Now all of a sudden, Sean Payton won them. Now all of a sudden, they're the greatest thing ever. Man, some of y'all need to change y'all tune and realize how ridiculous. Sometimes, like, for real, if you want to realize that, maybe you're not borderline, crazy or, bipolar or something like that, go read your Twitter to try to avoid yourself from looking that way. Seriously, because some of you, like, the tone that you're running, like, it just don't make sense. Like, you got to stay on brand here, right? You can't be mad 1 minute that you want change on the offense, but it's not happening the way you want to. So I guess you wanted heads to roll and Mickey Loomis just to kick open the door. Boom. Kick open the door. You fired, you fired, you fired, you fired, and you fired. Sir, I'm just a janitor. I'm sweeping the room. I don't care. You fired. That's what y'all want, right? Instead of like, Sean Payton won them. So, man, we need them. Like, come on, man. Knock it off. Knock it off. Keep it real. Keep it real with yourself and stop with this nonsense. Let me read some of your comments. Not going to be a long show, folks. My dog says, y'all been begging for a new offense. Here you go. Thank you very much, my dog. Thank you very much. How many episodes have we done? We talked about this offense. I know I have. I know I talked about this offense. I mean, come on, man. We all talked about this offense and how they need to change from the quarterback to the coaches. It may not happen the way that you want it, but it's happening. So who cares? As long as something else comes in that's different, right? Who cares how you get it? Like, who cares? Like, if you're shooting a three, it's the game winner, right? It's the game winner. It doesn't matter if you hit it all net or you shoot the ball, it bounced to hit the rim on the left, hit the rim on the right, and goes in. Who cares? Who cares? You still made the shot. Seriously, who cares? TJ spitting, bunch of emotional hypocrites. I'm just saying stay on brand. Tell them how you really feel, TJ. I'm just saying stay on brand. Now, I have an issue with people don't stay on brand. And I'm like, are you trying to, at this point, I'm wondering, are you just trying to find something to be mad about? Like, this ain't even nothing to be mad about. You didn't even want these guys. You didn't want them. So what are we doing? What are we doing? That's all I want to know. What are we doing? Like Nino Brown says, it's business, never personal. I need that T-shirt, TJ. Man, look, where did I get this shirt from? I don't even remember. Where I got this. I think I may have got this shirt from Target. That's my wife's favorite store, by the way. If the only store she can stay in for about 3 hours, and only buy like 2 things. Yeah, I'm talking about you because I'm pretty sure she probably strolled up on it. Pretty sure she just strolled up on a live somewhere. Yeah, I'm talking about you, but I love you. But Target is her favorite store. I think I need to get a Target deal, or at least get one with her or something like that. So Target, if you're watching this right now, somebody that represent Target, hit your boy up. Any steps in the right direction is a good thing. Exactly. No matter how you get it, Saint. No matter how you get it. Bill says, TJ, what about you about the defense change DA making? What do I think about that? I think that is great. Look, I said this before. I don't care. I don't care. Whatever Dennis Allen is doing, I don't care. Number one, he deserves to be able to appoint the staff that he wants, right? Last year, the combination of him and Sean Payton's guys that he selected, I'm talking Sean Payton, it didn't work out. So if a guy is on the hot seat, if a guy's job is in question, if his competence as a head coach is in question, let him do things his way. If it don't pan out, once again, you know what you have. It is hard for us to really just sit up here and evaluate the guy fairly if you're not giving him the opportunity to show what he can actually do. All you looking at is, what he did in Oakland. If it don't pan out, it just don't pan out. Let him hire the guys he wants to, and if it don't work, then it is what it is. But I like the hirings that he has so far. I like Joe Woods, as the defensive coordinator. I think the Saints need a shot in the arm when it comes to the secondary, and I think Dennis Allen understands that too. And, the other coaches that they have, the coach from the Arizona Cardinals to head up the secondary, I think that's a good look. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't, right? I don't have a problem with it, because it's his staff. So let him hire the guys that he want to hire. I'm not sitting up here like I said, most of the people, unless you real knee deep in football, I'm not going to disrespect people to a point where I'm just like, oh, I just know everything more than you. I ain't saying that. All I'm saying is a lot of the hires you looking at on Wikipedia, and you're looking at where they came from, and you're evaluating the teams that they came from, and you're just applying it. You don't know how that person is when it comes to the defense. You're not looking at it analytically. You just looking at, whoa, man, he came from Cleveland. Cleveland didn't make the playoffs. So they not good, and he not good, and he got fired. So it's like you just looking at all these things, right? And I don't know how it will pan out as a member of the Saints. All I'm saying is you got to give it a chance. At this particular point, you're finding ways to make yourself upset. I'm like, people getting mad over Kevin Peastry. I'm serious. I like to pride myself as a guy who's really knowledgeable of the Saints. Even I had to go and look up and see who the heck this was. Right? I'm serious. I'm not sitting up here getting mad at guys I don't even really know about. Man, look, they getting rid of all our young coaches. Man, we don't know. Some of us didn't know if Kevin Peastry was an assistant coach or the guy who was the Gatorade guy. We wouldn't even know. We can literally pass this dude in the street. We wouldn't know who the heck this dude is. Even if he told us his name before today or yesterday. I'm like, come on, give me a break, man. And then on top of that, Ronald Curry, man, was a quarterback coach, assistant offensive coordinator. Why not congratulate a guy like that for getting opportunities to interview with other teams? Yeah, we don't, you probably don't want the guy to go, but this man has been putting in work for over 10 years. This man deserves an opportunity. And if he can't get it with the Saints, let that man get it somewhere else. What I look like having somebody bruh, I know I'm not the only person that feels like if you have a person or, a person that works under you that has talent, that has ability to grow, why stunt their growth? Why stop them from flourishing? Because there's a possibility if you teach them, they're going to have to leave your store and it takes a step back. That's one thing that I pride myself on. Because during the time before I got into broadcasting, I was a store manager. And one thing I pride myself on was developing people under me for them to be able to take over if I was to leave or give them an opportunity to be able to elevate themselves, to take care of their families and stuff. Why would you want to stunt somebody's growth just because, they do a good job? That's fine and dandy, but don't stunt their growth in the process. Don't stop a guy from leaving out the door because, he know what he's doing from this side. Give that man an opportunity to grow. I'm not mad at it. Ronald Curry, wherever he goes, I'm happy that man getting the opportunity. But I'm not trying to sit up here and getting mad because the Saints let him go. What are they supposed to do? They are, whether you like it or not, they already got an offensive coordinator. So what are they supposed to do? Sit on the sidelines, not elevate himself, make little to no money, and just so you can be content at the fact that he's still here? No. And once again, it's on the offensive side of the ball, the side where the majority of Saints fans criticize. But now all of a sudden, Ronald Curry is the second coming of, Eric Bieniemy, Brian Flores, or Mike Tomlin or something. Give me a break, man. Saints need a change anyway. DA can't coach a Sean Payton team. He needs to coach his own team made by him. see how it goes. I'm still sleeping good at the end of the day. Look, Cameron, that's a good point. Makes a lot of sense to me. Give him opportunity to build this team. P. Carmichael can coach quarterbacks, y'all. Come on. Is he the play caller Sean is? No. But he has coached a good offensive unit with a good quarterback under center. All I'm saying is, look, I don't know what it looks like. I said this before. I don't know if this guy can develop a quarterback. For people that's extra critical about this coaching staff and their abilities to develop a quarterback, how could you know if they can develop a quarterback or not? Is what I'm saying. If we want to keep it a buck, Teddy Bridgewater has not sustained the level of success he has in the Saints uniform. Jameis Winston has not sustained the level of quarterback play in the Saints uniform as he did with other teams. Teddy Bridgewater went to Carolina, got beat out. Denver got beat out. Miami as a backup. So if we want to be technical about it, who have you seen? All I can say is, I know Sean Payton was there, but what I'm saying is every quarterback, for the most part, we've seen better versions of them in a Saints uniform than they have at any other time in their career. If people that's post Drew Brees, Jameis Winston post Drew Brees, for those games, he got off to the best start of his NFL career. Teddy Bridgewater in a Saints uniform, backing up Drew Brees, got off to the best start of his career. Taysom Hill as a quarterback has a really good win-loss record. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it will be like if these guys were to develop a quarterback. I don't know because we didn't see it. The only person that we have a huge sample size of is Drew Brees for 15 years. This is when you're so spoiled that you don't even realize it. The reason why you don't know is because we've been so spoiled for 15 years. If Drew Brees wasn't as good as he was, then you probably would know if they can truly develop a quarterback. It's the fact that you do not trust this coaching staff at all because the team has been losing more games than they won. I was a prisoner of that. Seriously. My morale is low. If I can take my podcast and broadcasting hat off as a fan of the New Orleans Saints, a team I've been watching for, I'll give it, 32 years of my life, okay? Because, my memories are probably from like the age of 4 on back. I'm 36. So about 32, right? For 32 years, I've been rooting for this team. And my morale is low. So I get that. But at the same time, I can't say in a large enough sample size they have what it takes to develop a quarterback. We don't know. We do not know. Like, seriously, what can you compare it to? Some of you still got the Similac on your breath when it comes to being a fan of the Saints. All you know is prosperity. All you know is great quarterback play for the most part. That is the reason why you are so upset to a point where you don't even use logic for the most times. Some of you don't even use logic because you don't have anything to compare it to. That's one of the main reasons why, if you look at some of these kids out here whose parents are rich and successful, and let's just say they go on hard times, they like, oh, what are we going to do? The parents are probably like, man, I've been in this position before. Some of us understand the hardships of the New Orleans Saints. I was looking at the analytics. So I know I'm speaking to certain people that the highest percentage of individuals that watch and view and listen to the State of the Saints podcast are between the ages of 34 and 45 or something like that. So if you're around that age group, you remember the 90s when the Saints were trash, right? So even though they have Dennis Allen as a coach, even though they have questionable quarterback play, we're not ready to get on top of the tallest skyscrapers and jump off with no parachute because we've seen worse. But some of you, I feel sorry for you, the younger cats out here that don't understand the hardships. At worst, you probably just remember 7 and 9 seasons with Drew, which is still isn't that bad. I can remember 3 games, 4 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can remember that. And I'm not saying that some of you are ready to jump off the cliff. A lot of people around that age group are pretty logical. But based on what I see from some of the Twitter followers out there, some of the people that tweet, You can tell like they haven't really been through New Orleans Saints hardships. And it's like everything is just all bad and terrible and it's just the worst thing ever and woe is me type stuff. But I'm not going to criticize something that I ain't see. Now, you are well within your rights to believe, like seriously, you're well within your rights to believe that this coaching staff don't have what it takes to get the job done. I can respect that. But at the same time, don't get so upset to a point where you just completely like just throw it away before it even happens. Like, if it happens and it's bad, let's have some good shows. Let's talk about it. Like this, let's say it loud and proud. Man, this ain't it. But it's hard for me to just sit here and be mad at something that I ain't seen. Now, when it comes and I see it at actual time, then I'd rather give my real raw emotions. I'm not going to just expect the worst because I can't do that. TJ, do you remember when Jake the Snake was our quarterback? Man, I remember Jake the Snake DeLome. I remember Ty Ballman. I remember Aaron Brooks. I remember Jeff Blake. I remember, let's go back a little further, Jim Everett. I remember Steve Walsh. I remember Bobby Abel. I remember the Billy Joe Hobart, Billy Joe Tolliver. I remember Adrian McPherson. I mean, look, I remember these. I remember some quarterbacks now. I remember when, they had Heath Schuler. I remember when they made that deal with the Washington Redskins during the time when they were the Washington Redskins, now Commanders. So, I mean, I've been rolling with the Saints for a minute, man. When I say I've been rolling with the Saints, I've been rolling with the Saints in flow model TVs with the record player at the top. I know I ain't the only person that know what they're talking about. I've been rolling. I'm about to make my family laugh. Y'all ain't gonna know what I'm talking about. I've been rolling with the New Orleans Saints since my grandma had that multicolored couch with the plastic in the living room down in New Orleans. I love you, grandmama. I've been rolling with the Saints for a long time. I've been rolling with the boys for a long, long time. And I didn't see worse. I don't know who this is with the Asian font on that thing, but let's go ahead and get them up out of there. Appreciate that. I don't know what the heck going on with that. Somebody say Wade Wilson. I remember Wade Wilson too. I remember Wade Wilson got the Saints off to a 4-0 start, and I was so excited. I was like, yeah, man, they're gonna make the playoffs, and then they lost by 8 straight. Yeah, I remember them days. So yeah, man. I don't know who this is right here, but we reached the part in the chat where we got some I don't know if that's Japanese writing or what, but whoever it is need to go. Looks like the mods have a security job to do. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Remember the intro to Madden 99 had the video of Danny Wolfle with his helmet backwards. Man, look, I definitely remember that. Hey, TJ, it's Casey. As much as I'd rather see Jim Harbaugh, Frank Reich, or someone else other than Dennis Allen, his back-to-back wins and his fight to get Carr makes me curious to see how this plays out. I've seen Derek Carr before the 2023 Pro Bowl. He was no Drew Brees, but he was impressive. Look, all I'm saying is let's throw the Drew Brees, Drew Brees examples or Drew Brees comparisons, rather, out of the window, because, man, nobody, in my honest opinion, unless Mahomes coming through this thing, or some other great quarterback the Saints can roll up on in the next 2 to 3 years, have a chance to be able to eclipse the greatness and be able to measure up to Drew Brees. So let's throw that out of the window, right? I think that's the biggest issue that we have. Quarterbacks that we look at it, we evaluate, we measure them up against Drew Brees, and it's unfair. It's totally unfair. I just want the guy to play the quarterback position at the highest level they're capable of doing. And if they can do that, then I'm fine with it. I'm not mad at it because I understand that more than likely the guy won't be Drew Brees. I just want some better quarterback play than what I've seen last year. Like that wasn't it. Right there. That's just settling for less. That's just, okay, man, just put him out here. That's just, okay, We're going to give you this. Go out there and give it the old college try. I'm good on that. It happened last year, but if you continue to go down that road, that's when I feel like you're just okay with just being average. That's when you're okay with not making the playoffs. You want to find the best fits to make your team better, and you don't want average. Now, if you have to settle for average at certain positions because you don't have the cap or the money, but there are certain positions where average, below average, will set your team back for years. And the quarterback position is one of them. Left tackle is another one. Offensive line in general, those type of things can set you back, period. And if you continue to wallow in mediocrity, then I'm going to question you as a staff, organization, and crew, period. I got Aaron Brooks, Joe Horn, Dante Stallworth autograph. Now, I remember all them guys first got to the Saints. Jake Delhomme took the Panthers to the Super Bowl. Yep. You're right, TJ. I don't trust Allen whatsoever. Fair enough. Hopefully next year at the time, we're talking about Coach Harbaugh to the Saints. It'll be nice to see physical football versus all that finesse we got. Well, I tell you what. I think the Saints got a chance to be a tough physical football team. I mean, most of the time when you have defensive-minded coaches, that's the type of identity they want to have. And I do see Dennis Allen trying to change the culture offensively of what the New Orleans Saints is. The problem is when it's time to actually buckle down and get a quarterback to win a game for you, they ain't have that. I wouldn't be mad if the Saints were a run-dominant team and play really good defense, and they just count on a quarterback to be able to, get the ball where it needs to be. If they need a game-winning drive to be able to do that, I wouldn't be mad at that, right? I mean, everybody just can't throw for 350, 400 yards every game. Everybody just can't put the team on their back every single week. And quite honestly, most quarterbacks that do that, they have to do it because they're taking up the majority of the cap. Can I interest you when Drew Brees got that big-time contract? At the time, he was the highest-paid quarterback. That's the reason why the Saints had to get rid of Bushrod. That's the reason why they had to get rid of Goodwin. That's the reason why, some of these other offensive linemen had to go. And they replaced them with guys that wasn't as good as those other offensive linemen. And the Saints defense, they couldn't bring people in because of the cap. So Drew Brees had to put the cape on. Drew Brees had to erase deficits because he was taking up the majority of the cap. So a lot of these quarterbacks that we wish that we had and wished upon a star, a lot of those guys have to go to that. They got to do that because the team don't have the capital because you're taking up the majority of it. So you better be the truth. You better be sustaining game-winning drives. You better be facilitating the ball. You better be throwing for 340, 350 because you're going to have to. Unless your team is hitting in the draft constantly or you got a cap wizard for a GM, you better be hitting down the field. I can tell you that, or your team is not going to be very good. They're not going to be very good. I'm going to read a few more, and then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here, folks. Like I said, it's going to be a short show today. It says, we just need an average to above average quarterback. Look, you want to shoot for above average. You want to shoot for above average, okay? Because I feel like this. I always say, wherever you are as a quarterback, if you got the right coaching, you're going to go a little higher, all right? So if you're below average with the right coaching, you're going to be average. With above average, you're going to end up being good. If you're good, you're going to end up being great. And if you're great, you're going to end up being elite. That's just the way that it goes. If you have the right coaches, of course. Coaches got to be able to get that out of you. They got to be able to come up with a scheme that fits you in order for you to reach that level. You get what I'm saying? So, so I'm shooting for like above average because if you're above average, then with the right coaching, you end up being good. And good can get you to the Super Bowl, right? You know what I'm saying? Above average in modern day NFL with the right defense, running game, and pieces around you, you can get to the Super Bowl. So if you're good, you definitely can get to the Super Bowl in modern day NFL. TJ, what was the issue with Carr in Oakland? Why don't they want him? Well, this has a lot to do with the contract. I think it has a lot to do with it has mostly has something to do with the contract. I don't think it has much to do with him as a person or as a quarterback, and I don't feel like that's fair to Derek Carr. It's not, because I know when teams don't retain guys, the team, like, let's just say if your team is looking at him, you're wondering what's wrong with him, right? What's wrong with him? But that don't always work. I mean, Cleveland got rid of DeMario Davis. The Jets got rid of DeMario Davis. Is anything wrong with DeMario Davis? No, there's nothing wrong with him. Like I believe that coaching matters, schemes matter. I don't think it's a coincidence, like him or not. John Gruden was the head coach, and Derek Carr played really well. I mean, he put up some of his best statistical numbers as a professional under John Gruden. So all of a sudden, he throwing a whole bunch of interceptions with Josh McDaniel. Josh McDaniel, who is the, offensive version of Dennis Allen, if you want to be real, like a guy who has gotten a second chance, who first shot, he kind of just, it didn't work out, right? So is it a coincidence that one coach, he played at a higher level than he ever did, and the other coach, he, went down, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think anything's wrong with him. I just think that both organization and player just needs to, separate. And I think he needs a fresh start. And, maybe this is what he needs. It seems like to me he has a chip on his shoulder. So, look, guys that are that competitive and play with a chip on their shoulder like he has, or he feels, I would like to have him on the team because they got something to prove. No more Dalton. Hell to the no. Ain't gonna be able to do it. No, that ain't it. If Andy Dalton going into the season as your starting quarterback, somebody done failed. Somebody done failed the fan base. I'm sorry. I just think just because we had worse days as an organization doesn't mean we should accept being mediocre. Should be a status that is left behind from a great era and continue to uphold that. Well, look, I'm not saying that we should settle, right? I'm not saying we should settle. All I'm saying is there's no reason to get mad over stuff that, it's just hard when you look at the past and how bad things can actually get and be upset when things are bad, but not as bad as what you seen. Like it or not, the Saints still had a chance to make the playoffs. Bad as the division was, they still was in playoff contention. So they won 7 games. There's a chance. There was a time where they probably wouldn't even win 7 games. They would have won like 3 or 4. That's the way I'm looking at it. So I'm not like, it's not like the Saints don't have absolutely nothing to build on. Like they still have some really good players. Like even though they finished 7-10, there's still some young players on this team you can build around, and you combine them with some of the veterans that are now our cornerstone players. Like Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is still as good as he was. Cam Jordan, he's up there in age, but he's still a leader, and he's still able to do some things. DeMario Davis the same way, but behind DeMario Davis, you got Pete Warner, and hopefully you can re-sign Caden Ellis. So you have some young guys. So not all is bad. It's not like we just looking up here like we just got a whole bunch of trash on the team. Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. You got Juwan Johnson, who I feel like they're going to re-sign. So it's not like they don't have nothing. It's not like they don't have anything at all. If that was the case, then I can be like, hey, oh, what the heck going on here? But they still have some bright spots on this team. It's not, I just feel like they just need a couple more pieces and they can be a playoff team. Carr average at most today. If I have to watch Dalton again, I'm going to be sick to my stomach. Titus says, if both Josh McDaniel and Dennis Allen are similar, how the heck is Derek Carr good for us if the same results are highly likely? Because you got one guy who is instrumental at what Derek Carr does on the field. That's Josh McDaniel, who calls the plays for the Raiders. And then you have another guy who coaches the defense. Like Dennis Allen isn't going to be there in Derek Carr's ear telling him he needs to run a certain type of offense. That falls under Pete Carmichael, right? And his offensive staff. So it's two different sides of the football that we're talking about here. If you want to be real. Who that, TJ? Do you think if we sign Derek Carr and Michael Thomas will want to stay, or Devontae Adams could follow him? Well, no to the Devontae Adams part. I don't see him following him. But as far as Michael Thomas, well, I mean, Michael Thomas, I think he retweeted a picture that somebody photoshopped of Derek Carr in the Saints uniform. So that if that means anything to you, I do trust this staff to develop a young quarterback. Nor do I trust them to get the best out of a veteran quarterback. And that's fair. I mean, it's hard to believe in something you ain't see, but I'm willing to give them an opportunity to do so. I have no choice. I have no choice. Who are these coaches, TJ? Who are these people? I don't know. I don't know who really just sits down and just really know these coaches. Like, I'm serious. Some people, like, I really believe, I hope that I'm wrong, but I really believe they sit up here and they read these articles and be like, this Sean Payton has interest in assistant coach Kevin Peastry. They look online, they find out who Kevin Peastry is, and then they take the information that they learn in real time, in like 2 minutes. They just skim it through it. You know, they skim through. You ever had a midterm or a test, you know, and you like, man, I didn't study. And you start looking real quick and you're trying to memorize stuff, and so you can go and, you know, put it down on paper. That's what I feel like. You know, a lot of people do. They skim through it. Like, they go, who is Kevin Peastry? They find out who it is. And then they go to Twitter. Oh, man, Kevin Peastry. Oh, man, he was about to become a head coach. I'm telling you, man, give him one more year. Man, he was going to have the Saints playing real good. Like, don't know who this dude is from a can of paint. Now, ask them the next day. Who was that guy that the New Orleans Saints, who was coaching the New Orleans Saints that Sean Payton was looking at? What's that dude's name? Man, it's on the tip of my tongue. Once again, if I'm not talking about you, you know, but if I am talking about you, good. Carr is a solid quarterback. He's no all-pro, but he can't get the job done. I'm not watching Andy Dalton for a whole year again. Devontae Adams had 100 catches for 1,500 yards. With Derek Carr, he's a solid quarterback. I just don't trust the front office. Man, like I said, all these feelings that you have are fair. You got to prove it, right? You got to have a St. Louis mind frame. You know, you got to have a Missouri. You got to have a Missouri mind frame, I should say. You got to show me, right? They call Missouri the show me state. You got to show me. You got to show me what you're capable of. Hey, TJ, your thoughts on Tajay Spears would be a great pick for us, but I think he'll be going fast. Yeah, Damien, I think you asked me that yesterday, but I was closing up the show. I seen it towards the end of the show. Look, I like Tajay Spears. I seen him up close. Really good explosive back. I think that whatever team gets him, if he, any team that gets him, they're going to get something really good. And if he gets with a team that has a really good offensive-minded coach, he's going to be even better. I'm hoping that he goes to a team like the Lions, hoping that he goes to a team like the Rams, hoping that he goes to a team like the Vikings. You know, I want to see him go to a team that, you know, he first off, he'll be a good complimentary back. So I wouldn't mind seeing him with the Giants either. Him and Saquon, that can be a good magical collabo right there. But I think he's really good. I think he's really explosive. I just think that he needs to work on some of his downfield catches. Now, he's a running back, but there's a time where, you know, a quarterback might have to throw you a wheel route and you got to be able to catch it. And there was a couple of times where I seen him in the back of the end zone, could have came down with a catch and he didn't. And it wasn't like it was so complicated, you know. It wasn't like, you know, you had to drag the feet or something like that. The quarterback put it where it needed to be. But outside of that, he's fine. And of course, like a little bit with the pass protection, but that's most rookies. Most young quarterbacks, young running backs come in, they struggle with pass protection. So, you know, once he work on a couple of those things, he'll be fine. Bobby, the only person in Louisiana that sees Dalton as a Hall of Famer. Yeah, look, I love Bobby Abel, but he tripping. Like I was listening to him the other day, and I love Bobby, but he tripping. Like he was trying to compare, Derek Carr's stats to Andy Dalton's stats. I'm like, man, you trying to make Andy Dalton work. I'm gonna be honest. You want to know the real reason why I feel like Bobby Hebert likes Andy Dalton so much? Because Andy Dalton reminds him of himself. Like go back and watch Bobby Hebert play the quarterback position, and then go and watch Andy Dalton and tell me that you don't see some similarities. I think he sees a lot of himself in Andy Dalton. And I mean, anybody that knows Bobby Hebert, he's a pretty confident guy. So I think that he sees a lot of himself in him. So I think that's the reason why he likes Andy Dalton so much. But seriously, like Andy Dalton isn't better than Derek Carr. He's not. He is not. He is not better than he is not better than Derek Carr. Right? I mean, that's just a fact. I'm sorry. But I think that he sees a lot of himself in Andy Dalton. And I'm old enough to be able to appreciate Bobby Hebert as a quarterback, both with the Saints and with the Falcons. And I think that he sees a lot of himself in Andy Dalton. So that's why I feel like he tries to go to war so much with fans, or tries to make compelling arguments about Andy Dalton. But look, Andy Dalton ain't it. As far as sustainable success, somebody gets hurt and you need Andy Dalton to win a game for you or not lose a game for you, send him in. But week after week after week, too much of a mixed bag. Bobby thought he was the truth, but got carried by the Dome Patrol. Well, I mean, look, Bobby Hebert made some plays. I don't want to disrespect Bobby Hebert. I don't. I don't want to disrespect the guy. I think he had some really good moments. Was he the greatest quarterback in NFL history? No. Was he ever the best quarterback? No. Right? But I mean, he has some statistics that put him up there, as a average, sometimes above average quarterback, depends on the season. So I'm not gonna hate on him, just because of his feelings on Andy Dalton. I do disagree with him. I'm sorry, I disagree. Like bringing it, like the only reason why you should bring back Andy Dalton if you just can't find absolutely nobody else. Like I think you can. Some of the most mediocre, bottom of the barrel quarterbacks that people look at or consider as bottom of the barrel, I feel like you can get something better than that. Look, Kyle Allen, like that's average below average. In my opinion, I think that he'll give you more. Taylor Heineke, I feel like can give you more. Jacoby Brissett, I'm just thinking about some free agents that's available right now. They're unrestricted. You can get some better backup quarterback play. I'm putting emphasis on backup because that's what Andy Dalton should be if he's with the New Orleans Saints. Hebert was Joe Montana until the fourth quarter, and he was died. If the Saints don't get Derek Carr is coming back, and the Saints will draft a quarterback. Well, yeah, he'll probably come back, but he ain't gonna play for long. He's gonna be on a Jameis Winston type leash. I can tell you that. Mike White is a better. Yeah, I agree with that. That I do agree with. Mike White from the Jets. I agree. Do you think we could get Carr and draft Hooker for development? No. If you get Derek Carr, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, folks, but if they get Derek Carr, they're not drafting a quarterback. If they do, it's going to be a quarterback like a Jaron Hall that's probably going to be like a 5th or 6th round pick. It's probably going to be like a Max Duggan or something like that. It's going to be like somebody that it's just obvious that they're not going to be a threat to him at all. That's just what it is. Okay, so there you go. I'm gonna take one more, then I'm gonna get up out of here, folks. It says can't have Taylor he'll be so mad if Washington got rid of him. You know, look, Bobby Hebert has a horrible take, not saying he's a bad person. I mean, I don't think he's a bad, I agree. I don't think he's a bad person. I mean, we all have opinions sometimes people don't agree with. Sometimes some people probably wonder what the heck I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, that's just his opinion. I just think that's a weird hill to die on. If we talking about, Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, who's better? You say Joe Burrow, that's a good hill to die on. If you say Patrick Mahomes, that's a good hill to die on. Trying to make Andy Dalton make it as a legit starting quarterback week in, week out, game in, game out. Nah, that ain't a good hill to die on. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. I ask that you hit the like button. Okay, we got 163 people here right now. Hit the like button if you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast and the content. Also, subscribe. It's amazing, man. I think they have 30% of people that consistently watch the State of the Saints podcast and have not subscribed to the channel. Like, what is going on here? Okay, if you like the show, if you like the content, and you constantly come back, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell for notifications. Also, you can check out the previous episodes of the State of the Saints podcast, the Gumbo Pot Sports podcast, Therapy Couch podcast, right here on the State of the Saints podcast network. And you can check out previous episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Follow the State of the Saints podcast on social media, facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast network, and follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at TJAY Jones 8. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?